Now, someone recently sent me a DM on Instagram saying Julian Newman was scamming people, and I can't condone this type of behavior. Now, I'm not going to come on here and cap and act like I've been keeping up with Julian Newman OD ever since he kind of fell off the basketball scene. But to be honest, we all remember Julian Newman at some point was watching his YouTube clips online, whether it be the Hello Newmans, the TV show that he has, or even just Julian Newman playing in games in general, and kind of wondering, how did a dude who's only 4 feet tall or even 5 feet tall make it this far and get so much clout? Now, of course, Julian Newman is a household name in high school basketball. He really, in my opinion, has for sure one of the most popular names, and it may not necessarily be for a good reason, but most people at least can say they know who he is. Now, Julian was playing varsity since I believe about 4th or 5th grade for his father, and then they decided to make their own school, Prodigy Prep, where he ended up finishing out his high school career there. And bro was averaging crazy amount of points, 20, 30-point games. He was out here really looking like a very solid player, but we all know there were a couple things that just destroyed his career. Now, we all know for a fact at his old school, he was playing against no type of competition really, and although he definitely did have games, his whole entire game was focused on scoring the basketball, which really did not help him at all. Then of course we have his father who was in the picture and the coach who kind of babied Julian Newman all the way through.
What's your problem, man? You can never just keep your cool.
And then of course his sister who had stated she wanted to be the first girl in the NBA, and we all know how that ended up going. Now, if we head over to Julian's Instagram, we can see he's still posting on there. It looks like his most recent post right here is him actually doing this Fashion Nova deal where he's wearing their clothes and promoting their brand. And of course, I think that's where he's definitely getting a huge bag from as well. He's partnered with Fashion Nova for a minute now. And even if we go to this next post here, we can see Julian Newman is training again. He's in the gym grinding. And I gotta be honest, man, sometimes I still question and wonder, why is this dude training so much if he's not officially playing anywhere? Remember, we all know the rumors that were going on with Julian back in the day. Number one, the fact that his dad said he had over 15 college offers. And of course, when things came to light, this dude had no college offers and kind of low-key no chance at playing at the next level. Although sometimes I defend Julian Newman and do say this dude has at least a tad bit of talent. He would not be able to get to this spot if he didn't. But overall, just a ton of lies were put out by him or his father, which kind of destroyed their credibility overall. Now, there's not too much interesting that is on his Instagram, but sometimes I do wonder, with all these types of posts that Julian is putting out, what type of bag is he actually getting? Of course, we all know, in my opinion, I think there are 3 reasons why Julian Newman's career pretty much went downhill. Number one, of course, Julian's height was definitely a huge factor here. If this dude is only 4 feet tall, you know he's not going to play at the next level. There have been shorter guys that have made it to the NBA, but it's definitely the exception. And honestly, when you're a short guy, man, you're just going to have a much tougher time, and you have to have that much more skill to play at the next level. Number 2, I think a huge factor was his attitude. This dude was not trying to hear anyone or listen to anyone and was really just trying to score the ball, and definitely was not a coachable player. In this case, when you're not a coachable player, man, it's going to be tough for you moving forward trying to play at the next level if all you're trying to do is score and not really hearing what coaches have to say. And I think third, of course, his father, him playing for his father was definitely a huge factor into, in my opinion, why things went south for him. Of course, when you're playing for your father, you can definitely do a lot of things that you wouldn't do under other coaches. For example, yelling at the coaches, yelling at your father, just doing a ton of different stuff, not really listening. Man, some other coaches probably would have kicked you off the team if you had this type of bad attitude. But I think a lot of that his father kind of let go just because it was his son and he wants his son to be successful. But when you're doing that, it kind of hurts you in the long run. Now, low-key, I do think if Julian even decided and maybe thought about playing for a different school, maybe he could have played at the next level. Although he's short, yes, I do agree with that. I think he definitely has some quick handles and maybe not the most effective, but these sort of moves definitely can be trained. And I think to say he doesn't have any type of basketball skill is definitely a lie. Now, if you do like these types of videos, feel free to like the video and subscribe to the channel. We are trying to hit 14K subs by the end of the year. Now, what I will say, and I think a lot of people are still continuing to realize, is Julian Newman seems to be missing out on a huge bag by not hopping on the YouTube trend. I think this dude could be a very popular YouTuber, or even hop on Twitch or do a ton of these different social media things in addition to his Instagram stuff, because although this dude has been out of high school for a minute, probably 2018, so that is some years, around 4 years, maybe even 5 years at this point or less, and he is still somewhat relevant. People still click and watch videos on him, which kind of shows you, man, I think the best time was yesterday, but now he really should hop on this trend and try to make a bag as more of a social media influencer on the YouTube or Twitch stuff, because I know people would tune in even though they definitely dislike him. Now, someone recently sent me a DM on Instagram saying Julian Newman was scamming people, and I can't condone this type of behavior. Now, of course, scamming is definitely a big word here, because you guys know allegations are different from something actually happening, and we have to get down to what is really going on with Julian. Now, allegedly, Julian is targeting artists that are of smaller sizes, people that have less followers and less clout, to try to finesse them and make a bag and promote their music on his Instagram. Now, I definitely think we have to tread lightly when we talk about someone scamming, because that, in my opinion, would mean that you kind of just take their money and do not provide the service at all. But let's see what bro has been actually doing. Now, if we take a look at these screenshots here, we got this one. Get right is fire, bro. My cousin put me on with a fire emoji. If you need help getting it out there at all, let me know. Could talk to my team about getting you right for the low. And as we see in these other three as well, it looks like these are the exact same DMs where basically he's saying his cousin put him on. Now, apparently he's using this line every time he goes to DM people to try to promote their music on his Instagram. And I gotta say, that's kind of finessing and being a little dishonest when we talk about just promoting their music. But in my opinion, I gotta be honest, I can't say that he's technically scamming people, because it looks like from what we've seen and from these other posts that are on here, he's actually continuing to carry out and promote their music, but he's just kind of finessing and using this type of tactic to be able to sell more shoutouts to people. Now, Julian saying that he's messing with their music is kind of tough, because you all know he is just trying to target people who would more than likely buy promos for him. But at the end of the day, I think this comes back even full circle to Julian Newman and this whole idea that he has $1 million of net worth, but yet is trying to make all his bread from Instagram. I gotta be honest and say, at this point, and it's about to be 2023, we all know the Newmans were very popular back then. They were bringing in a ton of money either through their Prodigy brand, selling merch, and even we saw their TV show and all that stuff. And even recently, a few times, Julian has been on Ball Is Life playing one-on-ones against a ton of different people. But low-key, in my opinion, I don't know, are things starting to dry up? Because Julian has been doing this for a while, but you guys know, if you promote things so often on Instagram that people don't care about, sometimes your page can dry up and people are not going to want to buy promos from you. But at the end of the day, I can't hop on the bandwagon, and even though people do not like Julian Newman, I'm not going to say he's scamming people, but he's kind of finessing and making more bread on his Instagram. But man, what is going on with their entire brand? Because really, I haven't heard much from them at all. Now, is Julian Newman ever going to play at the next level? I think a lot of people still are wondering this, but honestly, man, I don't see it happening. We've had so much false hope. People saying, his father saying he was going to play overseas, in China, all these other places, even in college. But at the end of the day, man, I think things are looking slow. And honestly, the best route for him, in my opinion, would be to, again, get on this YouTube or Twitch grind. And for sure, people would like him. There are a ton of people who had bad names initially. They definitely got a lot of hate on the internet, but as they started continuing to post and continuing just to be out there, people kind of flipped the switch and actually started to support them, even if they do criticize the people they're watching a lot. Now, in addition to Julian Newman, Zaire Wade is another big name in high school basketball that mysteriously fell off the face of the planet and no one knows where he is. If you want to know where he is, click this video on the screen right now, because this recent update on him is terrible.